What is going on, everybody? It is Saints Fan, and today I'm going to be breaking down a new Armored Kill DLC trailer that EA and DICE have just put out. And if you want to check it out in its entirety, not slow mode and paused at a couple different places, then check out the link below. And there'll also be some interesting, I can't talk now, some interesting information down below about the about this new DLC. So without further ado, let's get started. Now you notice the trailer starts off with some Bandar Desert gameplay, and we've already seen this map, so we have a lot of information about it already. But as you notice on the right coming up here is actually the first new vehicle that we get a hold of. This is actually called the HIMARS, which stands for the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, and basically what it does is it's pretty much a mortar team. Now as you notice on the right, if you can see, there's two seats, but it's not actually a two-seater for two people. You can control it, like to drive it, and then you have to switch seats to shoot in it. So it kind of makes a little bit of balance so somebody doesn't take your ride. Now also, I don't know if it actually can get reactive armor. I'm sure it can, but we don't know that yet. That's just off of speculation. Now if you notice, the ATV is definitely going to be coming back, and unlike Bad Company 2, which I think was a three-seater, this one's actually a two-seater. If it wasn't in Bad Company, correct me down below, but it should be fun to ride around the desert. And then here they're showing some of the map, made it what it looked like after battling for a while. And then here's the second new vehicle we get to see. This is called the Striker M1198. It's a U.S. What I'm assuming to be an anti-tank tank, sort of, if you know what I'm saying, because it shoots tank shells, but it has reactive armor around the entire thing, which you'll see later. And there's 5 seats in it, so that's maybe it's gonna be like an LAV tank mixture, where it's an LAV, the body of it, but then the cannon is that of a tank, so it can combat tanks a lot easier than an LAV could. Now right here is what you notice is gonna be the scout heli, but if you notice, it actually took out the tank fairly quickly for what a scout heli miniguns would. So this could only lead to speculation that EA put in a new attachment that made the cannons of the scout heli that of a frogfoot or one of the other rush jets to make it more powerful. And again, here they're just showing some of the overview of the map, what it may look like after playing in the game for a couple of hours or so. Now right here is when they show the AC-130, and we'll pause it when we get into the actual seat of it, and you'll notice that it is a two-seater. But the interesting thing about it is that there's 2 AA guns on this actual thing, so this means that both people inside the actual AC-130 can switch to an AA gun to protect themselves from jets. But another interesting thing is that they both seem to be on top of the actual AC-130, so maybe if you were a jet pilot, coming in from underneath might be a better tactic to take the AC-130 out. And then you'll notice actually that the AC-130 releases a ridiculous amount of flares when it's actually getting shot onto, so that'll protect itself from the missiles from incoming jets or Stinger missiles if they can reach that far. And then we move into the snow map, and this map is actually called Alborz Mountain. So that's gonna be a fun one to pronounce. This is actually in Iran, and then as you notice right here, it's gonna be a huge map, and the vehicles on this map are going to be prominent, because if you notice, there's like 3 US vehicles on the left, and then as you see in the distance there's more that they're shooting at, and then in the middle you see that's the ATV, which is actually an enemy ATV shooting back at the little transport Jeep. Then we move to a perspective from the back seat of the ATV, and you can tell it should be very fun to drive those around on the battlefield. Now we're going to be moving into what is the 8th capture point on Alborz Mountain, but I paused it here for a couple reasons. I mean, honestly, look at the background. Does that not remind you of Skyrim? I mean, when I first saw that, if you cover up the gun and all the explosives going off, you would honestly think that Skyrim or a real life picture. So another great thing that it should be really fun just to go around these maps and look at all the details inside of them. But I want to be going over some of the details that actually have been announced about this snow map. Obviously, like I said before, it's going to be all-out warfare, tanks and everything, every vehicle, transport helis, and everything. AC-130 will be back, as you'll see in a minute. the tower from Damavon Peak, which is actually kind of funny, is going to be in this map. So, you know, of course, snipers are going to be, you know, positioned up there. So you're going to have to take them out one way or another. Obviously, like I said, it's in a mountain region, but it's around a lake. So an interesting dynamic to this map is going to be how you cross the lake, and whether that be you swimming, you know, if they have boats, or you take a tank destroyer, it's going to give it an interesting dynamic. And a couple other things that they announced is that the AC-130 is actually going to spawn at E, like I said. And then some other things is that it's a fairly, you know, flat map for, you know, being in the mountains, but then it has rare destruction. So, I mean, obviously the trees will probably come down and some of the buildings, but there's not going to be too much destruction because of the lack of buildings, you know, on the map, it being in a mountain area. And then they're showing off some of the weapons that you're probably going to be using. I don't know why they're using a tar here, but obviously, you know, the SCAR-Ls and the longer range weapons are going to be the most popular on these maps. And then now we're going to be moving into the Russian tank destroyer. This is called the Sprut SD, and as you notice from the first person perspective, the reactive armor is actually around the whole entire thing, you know, like an LAV would. And then we move on into another part of the map, which is going to be a little road that goes through these mountains. And whether this be a main road travel, which possibly could lead to, you know, a lot of C4 or tank mines, it should be definitely a fun little you know, ride towards whatever objective you're heading to. And then obviously you saw the you know, the recycled dome from Damavon Peak, and then all these SCAR-Ls and longer range weapons that they're using on these maps, with some of the destruction in the background. Now right here is actually the AC-130 with some transport helicopter, and like I said before, it spawns at E, and if you notice when we come to the first person point of it, that, you know, it's really cool. You know, there's thermal everywhere, you can see everything. So it should be definitely fun to use, and it's going to be a tough time for infantry, you know, to deal with this AC-130, you know, up in the sky. And then obviously here's just some, you know, anti-air. So obviously anti-air is going to be on all these maps, because, you know, if there isn't, that would just be insane. And then it ends off by the jets taking out the AC-130. So if you're flying like that jet was, you're probably not going to be as lucky, and you're probably going to get hit going into the actual new into the debris. Another little detail I forgot to mention was that actually on the mini-map now, they have the actual flag inside of the little triangle, or, you know, square, or whatever it is, that's on the map. So that's good to know that, see, they actually incorporated that into the game, so you know which flag is blinking. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and all that good stuff, and subscribe for more, because I'm gonna be bringing out some guides, you know, to some of the new maps, especially for console players, because I know, you know, there's gonna be a lot of PC gameplay of this, but, you know, from a console perspective, definitely subscribe for all that. And I'm out. Peace.